Making sure your team has the right skills at the right time is one of the most practical and most tested responsibilities of a project manager. In this video, I'll break down Task 5 from Domain 1, ensure team members are adequately trained. We'll cover the 4 enablers, what the exam really expects, how Agile approaches training differently, and I'll finish with a practice question. Let's get into it. Task 5 sits in Domain 1, People, which makes up 42% of the PMP exam. The task statement is, ensure team members and stakeholders are adequately trained. There are 4 enablers. First, determine required competencies and elements of training. Second, determine training options based on training needs. Third, allocate resources for training. Fourth, measure training outcomes. Each enabler is independently testable. Let's go through them. The first enabler is determine required competencies and elements of training. This means identifying the gap between what your team currently knows and what they need to know to deliver the project successfully. On the PMP exam, this is tested in scenarios where a team member lacks a specific skill. The correct first step is always to assess the gap, not to immediately assign training or replace the person. Understanding what is missing before deciding how to address it is the PMP-aligned approach. Competency gaps appear in different forms on the exam. Technical gaps. A team member lacks a specific tool, technology, or methodology skill. Process gaps. The team does not know how to follow a particular project process. Leadership gaps. A team member struggles with communication, collaboration, or decision-making. Agile gaps. The team is unfamiliar with Agile ceremonies, roles, or practices. The project manager's job is to identify which type of gap exists before choosing the right training solution. The second enabler is determine training options based on training needs. Not all training is the same, and the exam tests whether you choose the right format. Formal training, structured courses, workshops, or certifications, best for deep skill gaps that require systematic learning. On-the-job training, learning while doing, often through pairing with an experienced team member, best for practical skills that require hands-on experience. Coaching or mentoring, one-on-one guidance from a more experienced person, best for leadership, communication, or behavioral development. Self-directed learning, books, online resources, and practice, best when the gap is narrow and the person is self-motivated. On the exam, match the training option to the type of gap. Never apply a one-size-fits-all approach. The third enabler is allocate resources for training. Training requires time, budget, and people, and the project manager must plan for this. On the PMP exam, resource allocation for training is tested in 2 ways. First, proactive allocation. The PM identifies training needs early and builds them into the plan. Second, reactive allocation. A gap surfaces mid-project and the PM must find resources within constraints. The exam almost always rewards the proactive approach. Identifying and addressing training needs before they become problems is the mark of a good project manager. This principle appears throughout Domain 1, and Task 5 is where it is most directly tested. The PMP exam consistently rewards project managers who anticipate skill gaps and address them proactively, not after a deadline has been missed or a deliverable has failed. If you see a scenario where a PM waits for a problem to appear before acting, that is almost always wrong. The fourth enabler is measure training outcomes. Training is only valuable if it actually improves performance. The project manager must close the loop, verify that the training worked. On the exam, this appears as scenarios where training has been completed, but the team member still underperforms. The correct response is to investigate whether the training was effective, not to immediately escalate or replace the person. Measurement can take different forms: direct observation of improved performance, testing or assessment after training, or tracking deliverable quality before and after the training intervention. In Agile environments, training looks different, and this is tested on the exam. Agile teams are expected to be cross-functional, meaning team members can contribute across disciplines. When a skill gap is identified, the Agile response is often pair programming, cross-training, or collaborative learning within the team. Formal external training is less common in Agile. The preference is for learning by doing, supported by the team. Retrospectives are also a mechanism for identifying training needs. The team reflects on what skills are missing and how to address them together. On the exam, if the scenario involves an Agile team, favor internal learning and collaboration over sending someone to a formal course. 3 traps that catch candidates on training questions. Trap 1. Jumping straight to training without assessing the gap. The exam always expects you to determine the specific competency gap first. Training without diagnosis is a waste of resources. Trap 2. Replacing the team member instead of training them. The exam almost never rewards removing someone as a first response. Always investigate, assess, and provide support before considering replacement. Trap 3. Not measuring whether training worked. The loop must be closed. Sending someone to training and then moving on is not enough. You must verify the outcome. Let's recap Task 5. Ensure team members are adequately trained. Enabler 1. Determine competencies. Identify the gap before choosing a solution. Enabler 2. Training options. Match the format to the type of gap. Enabler 3. Allocate resources. Plan for training proactively, not reactively. Enabler 4. Measure outcomes. Close the loop and verify the training worked. And in Agile, favor cross-training, pair learning, and retrospective-driven skill development over formal external training wherever possible. Let's test your understanding with an exam-style question. Question. A project manager is 3 months into a software project. A team member consistently misses deadlines on tasks that require knowledge of a specific tool. The team member has not used this tool before. What should the project manager do first? Option A. Replace the team member with someone who already has the required skill. Option B. Assess the specific competency gap and determine the most appropriate training option. Option C. Redistribute the team member's tasks to other team members immediately. Option D. Escalate the performance issue to the project sponsor and request guidance. The correct answer is B. The team member is missing deadlines because of a specific skill gap, not poor attitude or lack of effort. The project manager's first step is to assess the gap and determine the right training solution. This is enabler 1 and 2 of Task 5 working together. Why not A? Replacing the team member is a last resort, not a first response. Why not C? Redistributing tasks removes the symptom but ignores the root cause entirely. Why not D? Escalating to the sponsor before taking direct action is premature and bypasses the project manager's responsibility. B is correct because it follows the PMP principle. Diagnose before acting. That's your complete guide to PMP Task 5. Ensure team members are adequately trained. Subscribe for more PMP exam prep. Next up, how to build a high-performing project team. Task 6 explained. See you in the next video.